Kenya shilling actually firming up against the other currencies. So let's have the numbers now, as you shall see them shortly on the screens. Well, there they are. The dollar is trading at 100.52 buying, selling at 100.73. Indeed, the shilling continues to appreciate, and of course this has been cited to an increase in foreign direct investments, as well as strong performance really from the tourism industry and export business. Well, the pound is trading at 143.85 buying, selling at 144.17. Whereas the euro is trading at 124.46 buying, selling at 124.74. Well, that's how the markets are looking like on the currencies front. Let's take a look at the NSE performance now. And this is how the markets closed as of last evening. Well, turnover stood at 15.1 million shares. Shares traded was at 550 million. The NSE 20 share index closed off down by 3.8 points, and it was at 3,801.65 points. And indeed, the 20 share index continues to be one to watch out as it continues to go up when it comes to its performance. While the bonds traded is at 2 billion worth of bonds, and that's how the markets are looking on the performance of the NSE. Well, let's take a look at the most active counters. We have Safaricom. It's moved 11.81 million shares, followed there by Cooperative Bank of Kenya, moving just about 2.68 million shares. Equity Bank coming in third, moving 1.6 million shares. Barclays Bank moving 1.41 million shares. Let's close off now with a look at the winning stocks, where we have Standard Group, that is Standard Media actually, up by 6.25%. Stock is at 34 shillings, its valuation. Samia Africa doing well. They are also up by 5.77%, share price at 2 shillings and 75 cents. Home Africa actually also doing well. They're up 5%, share price at 1 shilling and 5 cents. And Kabasi closing off the counters there, they're actually up 3.35% and share price at 12 shillings and 35 cents. Let's wrap up with a look at the losing counters, where we have Hari Irite. The stock is down 8.33%, share price at 11 shillings. Equity Bank coming in second, stock down by 7.41. Valuation of the stock is at 50 shillings. Umeme Limited is also doing not so well on trading today. They are down 4.67%, share price at 12 shillings and 25 cents. Closing off, we have Flame Tree Group, which is not doing well in trading today. They're actually down by 3.45%, and the stock is valued at just under 5 shillings, 4 shillings and 20 cents. Well, that's a look at the markets this afternoon, and of course they continue to change, and we shall have the final numbers at our primetime bulletin. Well, let's take a look at some top stories as of this hour from the business world. And the National Cereals and Produce Board has denied claims over importation of maize from neighbouring countries, and they insist that this has only been to strengthen stronger border bonds. This comes against the backdrop of the appointment of Mutea Iringo as the new chairman of the board. The managing director, however, says that they are doing the best they can to accommodate local farmers. Here's more on that.
So thank you so much, Abby. And we currently understand the farmers' plight that has been going on in counties like Uasin Gishu. Farmers feel that they're neglected and that their needs are not being taken care of. Some of them have also complained that their maize is stalling, whereas the country is concentrating so much on getting the maize from outside, that is importing from our neighboring countries like Uganda. But we are so lucky today to have the MD of NCPB who's going to explain to us further that how is this happening in the industry. Thank you so much, Bwanacha MD, for joining us.
Now, you have mentioned the issues of us allowing maize to come from outside the country. But the truth of the matter is that the Kenya has signed protocols with the other East African states so that there is the normal cross-border trade, so that the maize can be able to move across the borders without any hindrance. So it may not be true that the government has imported maize. It is the traders who are bringing maize from across the border to Kenya. The only reason why we have had to establish the vetting mechanism is to be able to eliminate to make sure that the maize that enters the NCPB system actually are from the genuine farmers. The only problem is that the vetting mechanism has not been that effective. That is the reason why the government has ordered that registration of farmers is done within 90 days. Once the registration is through, I think it will be possible to establish the genuine farmers or to distinguish the genuine farmers from those who are the traders. And then that way we'll make sure in future that the maize that comes to NCPB comes from the genuine farmers.
Currently, there's been an ongoing issue in terms of the farmers who are paid. They were supposed to be given around 6 billion shillings, and some were promised to be paid within a certain duration of time. But so far, they're also crying out, saying that the payments have not happened. What do you have to say about this?
I think as indicated by the government, they are working on or waiting for the supplementary budget, so they are able to get funds which they will use to pay the farmers. So we are waiting for that supplementary budget to be passed by Parliament. Once it is passed, the money will be channeled to the Ministry of Agriculture and then onward to us. And then that way we shall be able to pay the farmers. So we are waiting for the approval of the supplementary budget.
In line with the government's Big Four agenda, are they really serious about this, in that at this particular time, farmers are supposed to be actually doing their plantations and all that, but we're not seeing the situation happening, and most of them claim they do not have the DAP. They only have access to CAN, which is just the top layer of everything. It's not exactly what they need to actually make their plantation or their farm produce to be as successful as it is expected.
I think the truth of the matter is not that we have started distributing the CAN. The CAN that is available in some depots is the carryover stocks from the previous season. Otherwise, we have not started the distribution of the CAN. We have distributed the DAP, which more or less is actually complete. And I think what people need to understand is that the demand for the planting fertilizer, we are told, is about 12 million bags. The government is only able to supply 25 to 30%. So that is what the NCPB distributes, 25 to 30%. So in terms of that 25 to 30%, I think we have been able to do it. The only problem is that the demand exceeds that which the government is able to provide. And it's because of the budgets. Everything hinges on the budgets.
So are you planning to extend from 25 to 30, maybe to 40, to actually meet the demands?
Well, I think that is a question which needs to be directed elsewhere, because you see, I'm not in a position to answer that one.
All right, to my last question. Now that you're saying the maize importation, it's basically the cross-border agreement.
Yes.
So how then, what are these farmers going to do who have stalled maize, who have we've seen quite a number of lorries just lying with maize? So what is going to be done to this produce that you already have?
But you see, if there are people who brought in maize from across the border, I think within the country there are alternative buyers of the maize. So it doesn't have to be that all the maize must end up in NCPB. Ours is only to store the strategic food reserve. But there are other alternatives, like the millers and everybody else who should be able to purchase part of that produce. And the plan was to purchase 2 million bags. We are already at 3.5 million bags, which is way in excess of what we had planned to purchase, way in excess of what the government had budgeted for. That's why they have paid the 7 billion. It is based on the budget that they had put in, they had actually set aside.
As you've heard, it seems like the claims the farmers are making out there is not what the NCPB board is actually taking care of. There are different amendments they're actually taking in place to make sure that they address all the issues across in terms of the farmers and also maintaining the relationships border we have with our external neighbors. Back to you in studio, Abby.